Welcome back to the BartenderHQ.com podcast, you beautiful bartenders, you. Hey bartenders, I'm back. Did you miss me? Okay, everything has been a bit crazy recently, you guys. I'm sorry, the BartenderHQ whole thing has been horribly neglected this year, and I really apologise to you guys. However, things are changing now, and we are getting on with things. We are really going to mix things up a little bit. So, BartenderHQ is now becoming my main focus in the world, which is important to me because BartenderHQ is a thing that I've loved for a long time. BartenderHQ, if you don't remember, and you may not, because most people probably haven't been on this whole journey with me, BartenderHQ started in 2014 when I had to get a real job outside of the bar industry, and at the time I ended up working in a magic shop down in Rugby, and that was kind of a full-time thing, and it was something that was important at the time because my first child was on the way, my first little boy, and at that point I really needed to get out of the kind of part-time aspect of the bar stuff and the unreliable income and all that sort of stuff, and move into something where I would have a pretty stable income and be able to work kind of normal hours, so that it was opposite to what my wife was doing at the time, which was running a nightclub, and so obviously trying to get those kind of hours in the bar industry early on is difficult, let's be honest. That said, since then I've obviously had quite a few roles that have been drinks development work, working with the big suppliers here in the UK, working in marketing side of things as well, and this stuff has actually been quite important to me, and it's actually stood me in good stead for what I'm going to be hopefully doing next. But originally BartenderHQ was a resource which was there for new bartenders who wanted to kind of increase their knowledge around the bar industry, around drinks, and around the kind of stuff that is important when you're getting started. Now, it's also kind of grown into having a lot of stuff about different drinks. It's become a real passion project, and one that I've really regretted the fact of not being able to do much with recently. However, I've changed jobs. Well, I say changed jobs. I've left my old job. Thank you to the guys at ODK, Andy and Nick. It was a great opportunity. It's time for something different, so that's what we are doing. The intention here, and this is very much intention at this point, is that BartenderHQ becomes a kind of hub for people that want to increase attention for their bars or for their drinks brands. So, things like helping you guys out with social media stuff, helping you guys out with marketing your brands. If you've got a bar that you are trying to grow the attention of, bring in more guests, all that sort of stuff, that is what we are hoping to do. So right now I've been working obviously with Sam at the Vanguard. We've done a bunch of stuff together there, but more importantly than that, 63rd and 1st in Leicester, which is my friend Dave Chuvalaris' bar. I've kind of created that brand for him and done a lot of the work around that in getting people through the door right at the beginning of what he's doing over there. So it's a tiny little bar, not something that we've actually mentioned on the show before because it's been so long since we've actually had an episode, and that is something that is going to change. I've got some interviews lined up, so there will be some interesting stuff coming over the next few weeks. I'm really going to do my very best to make this weekly again. Essentially, I really want to get BartenderHQ into becoming almost a social agency for independent bars and also small brands. Now, it's going to be certainly much easier for me to work with people in the UK on this sort of thing, so if you know anyone who would benefit from some work with BartenderHQ and that I can sit down with and talk about what we can do for your brand, that would be ace. David at BartenderHQ.com. If you know anyone that could benefit, let me know and pass my details on to them. I would love to have some chats with some people. This is the intention. So I found over the past year or so, possibly 2, maybe 3 years, that my passion has moved from the actual act of bartending more and also away from direct sales in towards more of a marketing type role. And this is the kind of stuff that I was doing over at Catalyst by the end, and also I was kind of doing a split role for ODK with both. What I'm really looking to do is focus more onto that marketing side and get away from knocking on doors and trying to sell stuff, because in today's market that is really, really hard to do. It's not impossible, absolutely, there are huge numbers of people out there doing it on a day-to-day basis, but I think people want more from their brands now, and especially with the huge growth that we've had in the UK with craft brands, and obviously across the world in the US and everywhere else. The huge growth in craft gins in the UK, there's something like 400 odd new brands that have sprung up in the past two or 3 years. There's a lot of these that are not focused specifically on bars and selling through the bars necessarily, but also direct to consumer. Some awesome stuff out there like the craft gin clubs, just all sorts of stuff that's kind of more focused towards the consumers and people having drinks at home. The amount of people drinking in bars is declining in the UK. The amount of people drinking in general, alcohol is declining. So there's also some really interesting stuff that's going on with alcohol-free spirits that I think is quite cool. And even places like I think it's either Lidl or Aldi, which is one of the big European supermarkets, has now got their own alcohol-free spirit, which is about a third of the cost of the big guys like the Seedlips. These things, these huge brands that I think Diageo has now started to invest in, and things like that. So there's some really interesting stuff going on in the drinks industry, and there's some amazing bars out there that need a little bit of help to get themselves moving in terms of getting their message out there. They do amazing jobs, and they do amazing drinks, and they look after their guests in a fantastic way, but that sometimes, if the people aren't coming through the door in the first place, might not quite be enough. So if I can help people out with their social media, with their marketing plans, with some branding stuff, that is the kind of thing that I'm now looking to do. I am looking to do this as a profession. This is not something I'm looking particularly to do as a voluntary thing, because there are still bills to pay and things like that. However, there will be a lot more content coming out to you guys, which is around how you can do it yourselves. Now, there's a lot of people out there that have got the skill set, they just don't know kind of where to start, and that is something that I want to help you guys out with. However, if you find that it is too much of a challenge and you are looking for someone to come and manage that for you, whether it's a content creation day where we will create probably, I think our plan is over 2 days, we would create somewhere between 40 and 60 pieces of content that you guys can then use on your social media platforms. That is something that we're looking to do. You would have the freedom to post that as and when you wanted to. The other option would be that we come and do said media creation days, and then we would manage the sort of distribution of that as well. Because half of the battle is getting it in front of the right people. Attention is kind of the currency these days in terms of bars, in terms of nightclubs, pubs, and there's a lot of people out there that are doing great stuff. There's also some people out there that possibly need to change the offer that they are giving, because as much as we all love traditional pubs, it's kind of becoming difficult now to justify a place purely on we sell beer. You know what I mean? Like, the drinks are almost not enough in a lot of places, especially if this is a pub that purely is about, we do beers. Everyone can do beers now, especially now that we've got the rise in craft beer coming in. People are able to buy them to drink at home. What are you offering that adds to the experience for your guests? Are you doing something that they can't have at home? If it's just beer, that is very, very simple for people to replicate at home, whether it's from a can, whether it's from growlers that they get filled up at a local place with a draft. There's so many options for people these days that if you're not differentiating yourself and not really doing an offer that they can't get somewhere else, that's when you're going to start to struggle a little bit. So what I'm really saying here is that BartenderHQ is evolving. It is still going to have the stuff that you love already. It's going to have a lot more drinks recipe stuff coming out. There's going to be a lot more stuff about how to help promote your own bar or help promote yourself as a bartender. We've done a lot of stuff in the past around CVs, because one of the things that always did really well for me was the CV that I put together. Always grabbed the attention of people that are hiring for bars. We're going to try and focus more on how to get you the job that you want. We're also going to help with getting more people through the door of your bar. And then if you want that one-to-one service with me, then that is something we can have a chat about as well for your bars. Right now, let's get into some actual content that helps you guys. Now, first and foremost, I've got to say I hate it when people talk about content if they're actually talking to the general public. I don't think it's a thing that general public actually thinks about. When I'm talking about content, I'm talking about videos, I'm talking about podcasts, I'm talking about pictures and tweets and all that sort of stuff that you put out to tell your story. Twitter is something that I've really started to do more with just recently, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a tequila coming out. Now, it seems like everyone has had a tequila coming out over the past years. I know that Elon Musk, who is one of the best marketers in the world, without spending any money on marketing, and he is going to be a topic of one of our conversations coming up. He registered Tesla Tequila or Tesla Tequila or something along those lines a little while ago. We talked about it on the podcast. It's not something that I think that he's actually pursuing anymore, but he's got a patent or a registered trademark or something like that for it. The bottle was literally just a Sauza Hornitos bottle with a different label on it, but there we go. But yes, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, this is... everyone knows Dwayne Johnson. He's one of the most charismatic guys in the world. So, it's official. I proudly present Terra Mana Tequila. Terra means earth, and Mana is a powerful Polynesian spirit. Spirit of the earth. From all of us here at Distilleria Terra Mana in Jalisco, we invite you to come and have a drink. So, he has got Q1 2020 is when it is supposedly going to be launching, according to this tweet. It's almost ready. Founder, cheers. And it looks like he's actually got his own distillery in Mexico, which is weird because most people that are kind of starting a tequila brand, especially, they tend to use an established distillery. Now, it could be that he's bought an existing distillery and renamed it. Don't know. I'm trying to find the NOM number, the NOM number, which kind of identifies which distillery this is. I'm quite interested. There has been some decent celebrity tequilas out there. Obviously, Aquariva, the one that I kind of worked with Cleo. Then you've had George Clooney with his Casa Amigos, which is now sold on. Why is it that tequila is the one that all these celebrities want to do? It's an interesting thing, and if you know what that reason is, I would be really interested to hear your thoughts on that. But what do you think? Is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's tequila going to be something worth drinking? I have a feeling he's one of these guys that's going to go all in, and he's actually going to make a really good go of this. But what do you think? Let's at least, fingers crossed, hope it's not made with a diffuser and that it's 100% agave. So, one other thing that I'm going to be doing this month is what I've decided to call No Days Off Vember. No Days Off Vember. I'm essentially going to be trying to get to the gym every single day this month. I tried it a couple of times, obviously with our little boy who's poorly and occasionally ends up in hospital. Things have been difficult with that. Quite often we'll end up stuck in the hospital for a couple of days with him, and it's very difficult to move around at those points. So, fingers crossed, this is what we're going to be doing. I haven't got much in terms of work commitments at the moment, so hopefully if we can get this up and running and I can work for myself, that should be something which works well. But guys, this is what I want to know from you guys. Who is on TikTok? Who is on TikTok? Now, I know it's a platform that's more about music and stuff, but it's kind of getting really big. It's bigger than Twitter right now. They have 500 million active accounts every month. So I would really like to know, bartenders, are you on TikTok? And if you are, what's your usernames? Tweet them to me at BartenderHQ. I want to come and follow you guys on TikTok and see what you're putting out there. Okay, we've done 15 minutes or so. I'm going to leave it there for today. I just wanted to give you an update on where we are, what's going to be happening. I have got some interviews lined up, which we'll be doing in the next few days, which will hopefully make up most of next week's podcast. If not, I will do something else. But what do you want to hear about on the podcast? We are going to be making this far more about you guys and what you need from me. So let me know in the comments or hit me up on Twitter. And yeah, Let's have a chat. Let's make this Bartender HQ something for everyone in the bar industry, and let's make it pretty cool. I will see you guys on the next podcast next week.